So for this first showcase, Technology for Engagement, I first found a lesson plan provided by Common Sense. This lesson plan was on narrative writing for the third grade language arts. First, a little bit about Common Sense. It is an online resource for educators that provides teacher-created lessons and a bunch of different resources for digital citizenship. So if we go to the website, this is what you'll first see. And then you can see all the different resources they have for digital citizenship. They have curriculum and student games. And then right here is where you would find your teacher-created lessons. And all of these have some sort of technology in them, so that is a great tool. And right here it kind of gives you a preview of what kind of technology is being used, and then the grade level and the subject. So for this specific lesson, here is what it actually looks like on the website. It first has this teacher talking to the students about how a narrative story relates to a taco, how they each are made up of different parts, but they all end up being made into that one whole thing. And then right here it has all the different parts of the lesson plan, has off-site resources, and then there's a little description right here about what to do with that resource or how to explain it. And then down here is where the technology comes in, the Storybird. So for the end of the lesson, the students use Storybird to create their own narrative story using all the elements. And then the lesson goals are that the students will be able to identify all the elements of a narrative story and then write their own narrative story. So a little bit about Storybird. Storybird provides reading and writing projects for all students of all ages, K through 12. The stories are made by students and teachers, which can be read by all users of Storybird. And it includes picture books, long-form stories, comic books, flash fictions, and poetry. So we can go and look at the website. So this is what you will see when you first click on the website. It has all the challenges on here, and then featured writers. So you have the picture book, comic, the long form, flash fiction, and then poetry. And then you can also see how many people have viewed this certain book, how many people liked it, and then how many people commented on it. So let's say we are the student, and this is what the student would see when they first get onto their profile for Storybird. So they would see their badges that they have for doing different readings or writings or challenges. They have their recent writings, their progress on all the challenges, which kind of makes it into more of a fun technology-based website rather than something that is just strictly for learning. So let's say the student wants to get started on their narrative story. So we're going to write a picture book. That would probably be the easiest for this one. So you could pick an artwork and just get started. We can choose this one. And then we add a title. And then you can change the color of the background, which really gets the students to be creative in what they want to do with this. And then here are all the pictures that you can use. There's a bunch of different pictures. You can put them anywhere you really want to, and then you can start writing on this side. And then you can go to the next page. Again, this kind of shows how you can do a full page or even a half page, and then do some writing up here. And then you just save and exit, and then you can just go back to your dashboard. So the one thing I would say about this website is that I think it could be hard for students to stay focused because there is so much to this. You have the challenge, you have a reading, and then writing. One thing I noticed is that there are just so many like forms of content on this website, I could see how a student could get distracted, especially this is supposed to be for 3rd grade. There's just so much on here that could interest a 3rd grader, and they could be like, ooh, I want to do that instead of working on this narrative story. So that's just the one thing I would say about this website, is that I think it could be hard for some students to stay focused on a certain task. But I do think that Storybird will help students stay motivated on certain topics, because let's say if a student wants to write a story on a topic, then especially if they're learning that topic in class, then the student is going to want to pay attention to that topic, take notes, listen well, just so they can absorb all that information and then write that story that they want to write. And they don't want to write a bad story, so they're going to try and get all the information they can, which will help in grades and motivation, just all around class behavior. And then the passive to active social learners. So we saw that other students can comment on it. Also, students can experience other students' knowledge, which would help them become active social learners. And then they can also collaborate on a story that they would want to make. So let's say if there's someone in the class who also wants to make a story on the same subject, then they can both put their knowledge together and then make a really awesome story. And then just to wrap up some ISTE standards that I think that Storybird hits on is digital citizenship. So we saw that the students can comment on there on different stories. I think that will teach students how to be respectful on the internet and not comment hateful things to each other, to be able to criticize when they think they need to, but also do it in a respectful way. And then creative communicator, it allows students to use their creativity to show what they've learned instead of just saying, oh, I learned this. They can go and create a story about what they learned. And then global collaborator, this is like an international website, so students from different states or even different countries can be able to see a story that a student created. So that is definitely a global collaborator. It hits that standard. All around, I do think that Storyboard is a good online resource to have in your back pocket when you, when I start teaching, I would like to be able to have that technology just to incorporate into different lessons. I think it would be good to get students' creativity flowing. It's also very easy to navigate. It's not hard. It's free and it's easy to set up. You can do it with just your Google account, and I do think that I would use this in the future.